Another Sunday chart breakdown. We're going to be actually doing a quick little chart breakdown, as well as, kind of some things that we can be looking for this upcoming week. So as we know, the Nasdaq has been overwhelmingly bearish, giving us lower highs and lower lows. So you can obviously say that that is the current trend. So I kind of wanted to clarify a few things for you guys, for everybody that was in the market last week and you saw this very nice bullish push followed by a very strong bearish push to remain. So a few things that I want to point out to you guys, whenever you're doing your charts, that's why workflow is super important. No, you don't have to do the same thing over and over again, as far as like you have to start on a monthly or you have to start on the 5. Like, no, you don't have to do that. But you do need a system for how you go about doing things, because that's what's going to keep you on point as far as being super precise. Y'all know my 3 P's: precision, patience, and persistence. And you guys know precision is being on point in your attention to detail. Your persistence is adopting that winning attitude. And so understanding all of those things and putting them together to kind of flow with what you're doing on the charts is going to be super important and keep you super on point. So overall, as I said before, when you look at things such as like, the monthly time frame or whatever, you're obviously going to be more bullish than bearish, just based on like how you have certain things. Like, this is obviously a bullish trend, right? But the smaller time frames are going to show you a bit more information that you need in order to be able to see like what exactly the trend is right now that you can take advantage of. So based on the monthly time frame, we still have 4 days left in this monthly candle. So it would be, we can't really say that this is bearish just yet, just because, again, you still have 4 days. So once those 4 days close out and that candle price is closed on this candle, then you can go from there. So it's not really much to do off the monthly time frame right now. But we can zoom into like our weekly, our daily, just to kind of get an overview of everything. So based on our weekly time frame, we had already marked this area off like a minute ago. So price actually came back into that zone, which was a previous area of support and resistance based on that weekly time frame. So it was like a major area of interest for us. And this happened obviously, back in July. So you were already kind of like anticipating some type of, sell opportunities coming into the market. So you can zoom in a bit more, such as like your daily. I don't really base my structure off the daily. I more so go off the H4, but I will utilize, certain things that I'm seeing on different time frames. So based on where we are for the daily time frame, you can see that price actually created a doji here, right? An indecision candle. And that's very important, because when you see things like this on a daily time frame, like that's going to hold a lot more weight versus if you saw it on like, I don't know, like your M5 or an M30 time frame. Like, yeah, you can keep your eye on it, but oh wait, wrong thing. But at the same time, that's not really what you're focusing on. So when you see these dojis right here, that should like automatically set off some sort of like alarm in your mind that, sellers tried to make a push, but buyers came back in as well, and there was indecision. So price really didn't have anywhere to go at that point in time. So seeing that and knowing that you were in this bearish type of move and seeing that doji happen at a previous area of support, that would have already had your eyes open to like what was possible as far as like buy opportunities and what price could want to do or go next. So based on your H1 time frame, you would have gone down to see like this was that doji, and as you can see, like price came in, created some sort of like level of support, came back into a level of resistance, and actually broke beyond that point. I'm not going to break that down right now because that's something different, but I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention because I think that's super important when you're looking at price. Obviously, you don't necessarily see that on your H4 time frame. This is that area, but that was something on the daily, which is why it's important to be able to have the ability to kind of flip through different time frames just to get an overall view of what is happening at certain areas of support. So when it comes down to this level of resistance and seeing how price actually made this really strong bullish push back into these, previous lower high points, a few things that you could have been doing to actually flow with everything at that time is paying attention to like certain things that you're seeing, such as like your higher low points, like seeing minor higher low points inside of like a bullish trend. Like that's, for where we are right now, that bullish type of trend, like you would have been anticipating these buy opportunities, and you would have saw this like somewhere down here because you would have already had your break and retest and everything like that, just based on how you go about things. But what was super important to note, right, is that you could have even like pulled out your fibs, which you don't need to all the time, but in this scenario, right, so you had all these like minor little lower high points happening here. So let's mark these areas off. And like these are just like very, very minor areas, right? So if you pulled out your fibs and you actually measured past, once price like broke beyond this point, I would measure from here. So your point A to point B, really, it's a 50%, You know, you're getting like these minor PRZ levels based on your H4 time frame. If you measure this move here, it's not even a 23.6. So it's more so just a continuation because it's still within that zone. So even though price broke beyond this H4 level, and I'm going to mark this off so you guys can see it. Even though price broke beyond this H4 level here, one of the things that you would have been keeping in mind is that price could retrace 100% of that initial move, which would have been like somewhere like all up in here, and still be valid for the sell opportunities, which is what we saw. So from there, you could have been anticipating certain things, and you would have marked this area off as a certain area of interest for you, where you have like a median of the wicks. Price came back into the zone and actually rejected the same area. It never actually broke beyond based on your H4 time frame. So you would have been on a lower time frame to actually break this area down to see, like, what am I seeing? What could I be paying attention to when price comes into certain areas of resistance that I could take advantage of to be able to flow with the overall market momentum at that time. So again, there's just things that you could have been doing from here, and understanding that even though you had this very nice bullish push, you were still within a certain zone to where the sell opportunities were still valid, right? Like obviously the buy opportunities were valid as well, but once you zoomed out and you saw that we're still inside of lower high points, and this would just be like a very steep lower high point, but it's still part of the PRZs because that previous area of resistance is not actually a lower high point, it's just an area of resistance.